Kyiv, July 23, 2025. As the first light of dawn stretches across the city, Kyiv stirs awake, its streets bathed in a soft golden glow. The city's familiar skyline stands as a silent witness to another day of uncertainty, its beauty shadowed by the tension that lingers in the air. The city wakes to a familiar tension, defiance in the air. People move with purpose, their faces etched with worry and resolve. There's a sense that something historic is unfolding, and everyone feels the weight of the moment. Independence Square, the Maidan, is packed. Despite martial law, thousands gather, risking everything. The square, once a symbol of hope and revolution, now pulses with the energy of a people unwilling to surrender their future. Soldiers, students, doctors, grandparents, united by fear that the principles they fought for are being dismantled from within. Each face in the crowd tells a story of sacrifice, of hope, of a determination to protect what matters most. Chants echo, "Hands off Nabu," and "Ukraine is not Russia," a cry to protect the nation's anti-corruption bureau and its democratic future. The voices rise together, a chorus of resistance that reverberates through the city's heart. The fight is on two fronts, against a foreign invader and against corruption at home. The presence of soldiers among protesters is a stark reminder. Ukraine's struggle is not just on the battlefield, but in the halls of power. Signs tell stories of sacrifice. "We chose Europe, not autocracy." These words, scrawled in bold letters, reflect a choice made years ago, and a promise that must not be broken. "My father did not die for this." The pain and pride in these words echo the losses endured by so many families. Each sign is a reminder of the personal cost of freedom, and the determination to honor those sacrifices. Volunteers move through the crowd, handing out water and leaflets, offering support and solidarity. Strangers embrace, united by a common cause, their courage growing stronger with every passing hour. Kiev's mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, moves through the crowd, condemning the new law as a step away from democracy. His words ignite hope, reminding everyone that their voices matter, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Protests aren't just in Kyiv. Lviv, Dnipro, Odessa erupt in solidarity. Across the nation, people pour into the streets, their unity a powerful message to those in power. This is a nationwide eruption of anger, a clear signal to President Zelensky that a line has been crossed. The people's patience has limits and their resolve is unbreakable. The stakes, nothing less than the soul of Ukraine's democracy in the shadow of war. The world is watching as a nation stands at a crossroads, determined to shape its own destiny. What's behind the outrage? Zelensky's new law strips Ukraine's anti-corruption agencies NABU and SAPO of their independence. Both now answer to the Prosecutor General, a presidential appointee, who can reassign or close investigations at will. Critics call it a fox guarding the henhouse scenario, undermining years of hard-won reform. The bill passed with support from Zelensky's party and even pro-Russian factions, fueling suspicion of elite self-protection. For many, this is a betrayal. NABU and SAPO symbolized hope that no one was above the law. By signing this bill, Zelensky has shaken the very pillars of Ukraine's post-Maidan state. Zelensky's defense? National security. He claims anti-corruption agencies are vulnerable to Russian infiltration, and centralizing control is a wartime necessity. Recent raids on NABU's staff for alleged espionage set the stage for this argument. The administration also blames inefficiency, cases dragging on, billions unrecovered. Zelensky promises the new system will deliver justice faster, painting critics as naive or defenders of a broken status quo. The government asks for trust, but the public's faith is shaken. The standoff deepens. The government's justifications aren't convincing most Ukrainians. Many feel betrayed, as if the promises made during the Maidan Revolution are being quietly erased. The sense of disillusionment is palpable, echoing through city squares and online forums alike. On the streets, anger is raw and unfiltered. "We're fighting Russians there. Who protects us from thieves here?" asks Polina, a doctor, her voice trembling with frustration. She's not alone. Teachers, students, and pensioners join her, demanding accountability and transparency from those in power. Activists like Vitaly Shabunin call the law a blatant power grab. "It's a get-out-of-jail-free card for the powerful," he warns, rallying crowds to resist what they see as a dangerous slide backward. Their message is clear: the fight against corruption cannot be paused, even in wartime. International backlash is swift and unequivocal. The European Union, a key supporter of Ukraine's democratic aspirations, calls the law a serious step back. European officials warn that such moves threaten Ukraine's path toward EU membership and undermine hard-won reforms. G7 ambassadors in the United States urge immediate reversal, emphasizing that continued support depends on Ukraine upholding the rule of law. Their statements are not just diplomatic gestures, they are warnings with real consequences for Ukraine's future. These warnings come from Ukraine's lifeline allies, those providing military and financial aid. Without their support, Ukraine's ability to defend itself and care for its people would be severely compromised. The stakes could not be higher. Even Ukrainian officials break ranks. Former Foreign Minister Kuleba calls it a bad day for Ukraine, signaling deep divisions within the government itself. His words reflect a growing unease among those who once stood united. The chorus of condemnation is deafening, reverberating from Kyiv to Brussels and Washington. Protesters chant for justice, while international observers express alarm at the direction Ukraine is taking. The law is seen not as reform, but as a rollback of the Maidan Revolution's ideals. For many, it's a painful reminder of past struggles, and a warning that the fight for democracy is far from over. Protesters and partners alike see a battle for Ukraine's soul unfolding in real time. The outcome will shape not just the nation's future, but its very identity. The world is watching, and the stakes are existential. Every headline, every broadcast amplifies the urgency of the moment. The pressure on Zelensky mounts, the protests grow louder and more determined, the crisis deepens, and Ukraine stands at a crossroads. Its next steps will echo for generations. For Ukraine, fighting corruption is the ticket to the EU, a civilizational choice. Brussels made it clear, no reforms, no membership. Nabu and Sepo's independence was proof Ukraine was serious about change. Subordinating them to a political appointee threatens that progress. International watchdogs warn, this law could derail Ukraine's EU path and jeopardize vital aid. Financial support is conditional on transparency and reform. Soldiers fight for a European future, but this law risks pulling Ukraine backward. The dream of joining the EU is now clouded with uncertainty. Why risk so much? Zelensky claims it's about security and efficiency in wartime. Critics see a classic power grab, martial law as cover to centralize control and sideline accountability. Some say pressure from oligarchs and entrenched elites forced his hand, others point to the timing, just before ceasefire talks. The coalition that passed the law includes old guard parties with vested interests. Whatever the motive, security, power, elite pressure, or political strategy, Ukraine is plunged into crisis. The debate is about the very nature of the state being built in war's shadow. The stakes democracy or a return to unaccountable power. The nation is at a crossroads. Ukraine stands at a crossroads, facing one of the most pivotal moments in its modern history. The choices made now will echo for generations, shaping not only the nation's future, but also the stability of the region and the world's perception of democracy under threat. President Zelensky faces a stark dilemma. He can double down on his current course, risking deeper divisions within Ukrainian society and the potential erosion of crucial Western support. Or, he can seek compromise, reaching out to opponents and allies alike in an effort to restore trust and unity at home. His office has hinted at the possibility of dialogue, but the path to de-escalation is fraught with challenges. Political negotiations are tense and every decision is scrutinized by both supporters and critics. Meanwhile, the Kremlin watches closely, eager to exploit any sign of instability or weakness. Russian officials monitor developments, ready to seize opportunities that could undermine Ukraine's sovereignty. For Ukraine, resolving this crisis is not just a political challenge, it is a national security imperative. The safety of its citizens and the integrity of its institutions depend on finding a way forward. This moment is about more than passing a law or winning a political battle. It is a test of Ukraine's democracy, its leadership, and its commitment to the values that have inspired millions to demand change. The world is watching with anticipation. International journalists report from Kyiv, and global audiences follow every development, wondering if Ukraine can defend its hard-won democratic gains in the midst of war. The outcome of this crisis will shape Ukraine's future, whether it continues its journey toward Europe and greater integration, or risks sliding back toward centralized power and old divisions. The war, the government's stability, and the very identity of the nation all hang in the balance. Families shelter from bombs, leaders make urgent decisions, and the flag flies as a symbol of hope and resilience. In the coming days, the choices made will decide not only Ukraine's fate, but also the future of democracy in the region. The world waits, holding its breath.